Alright, welcome back, guys. This is Kingdom Rush Alliance. We're doing the Desecrated Temple campaign mode. We got Grimson and Therion as our heroes. Towers you could and upgrades you'll be able to see on the screen. I have 8 left over because I skipped ahead, but this is how many you should have if you are following along with the guide. So go ahead and follow this upgrade tree and you should be fine. So, right away, you notice a tower over here. Laser Temple, yeah, it's cost 300 points to upgrade. We're going to do it immediately. It will decrease by 50 every time you upgrade it up to 4 times, so it'll go down to 150 on the 4th and subsequent upgrades. And this tower is insanely good. It does true damage and is a chantable tower with a certain amount of durability, in which case it will degrade. It's called the Dark Ray Tower. So make sure you always have that upgraded. Budget your money so that you can replace it should it go down. And you'll see me do that a couple times on this level. But otherwise, we have our Mage Tower at the bottom center, Demon Pit, Ballista, and Archer Tower in that fork in the front. Therion can kind of stand back and deal damage to these cult abominations. And then Grimson can roam around wherever he pleases. Again, I would highly recommend plopping your reinforcements on the Vile spawners whenever they show up to prevent the little flying guys from spawning. As you can see, there is the glare effect on this map, and we'll be introduced to 2 additional enemies later on, the Blade Claw Whores and the Spitters. Blade Claws are especially dangerous if they're upgraded by the glare. So really try not to let them get in that glare area. It's really dangerous if they get glare because they become unblockable and they gain a lot of armor. So anything in that aura of the glare becomes a lot more dangerous, and we're just going to try to avoid that at all possible. Therion, I think, is again really important just because of that glare. The little voidlings that spawn from the cults and things just are so fast, and it's so important to have something that can catch them quickly. Otherwise, you will definitely be losing some lives. The cults primarily spawn from that bottom right-hand side out of the mine shaft. So that's why we have the Mage Tower. We're going to be upgrading it on the bottom. I pick Rocketeers on that bottom fork side next to the Mage Tower. I actually think I could have gone with Paladins. Probably would have been a lot more effective here. I didn't put any really upgrades into the Rocketeers, Rocket Gunners, whatever you want to call them. And I think they were just not that effective on this playthrough. I think you could have gone with Paladins or just another Demon Pit and you would have been better off. But it worked out here. I just think it was one of the less performing towers. Idea with the Archer Tower in the center roundabout is that it does a ton of damage to non-armored guys, which we see a lot of. And you notice just there, I was able to upgrade that tower. When it explodes or when it expires, it does one final burst of damage along the path, and just so much damage to anything, especially the heavily armored guys, because of the true damage. So definitely worth keeping up at all times. We're going to be putting points into the bird from the Archer Tower, because that'll do some nice area damage. And there are a lot of, on that top side, you can see it goes around the roundabout and then towards our exit. A lot of guys will try to race towards the exit thanks to the glare effect. So we definitely want some Archer Towers to chip them down. There's a little strip of glare on that roundabout where they will get the speed boost. You just have to be very careful. As far as Grimson goes, I think he is good at this level just because he's fast and does a lot of damage. You could have gone with other champions, and I think you would have done fine. Grimson was my pick, but I do change him out in the Heroic and the Iron Challenge, so I think he is very flexible in the sense that you don't have to pick him. He's just my preference here. Therian, I do feel like is a must. She's just really good, thanks to her teleportation ability. I would recommend upgrading the Demon Pit here a little bit earlier than I did. I would probably put another one in that back roundabout area right next to the tower, the Archer Tower. I would clear that rubble, the tentacle that's grabbing it, and I would put a Demon Pit there. That would have been more useful to catch some of the runners. But with the Demon Pit, it's kind of like one of those towers where it's really good if you upgrade it all the way. If you start putting points into the explosion and the Demon Pit boss. Not so good if you just have it at like level 1 or 2. And here are those Blade Claw horrors. You can see the dudes with the scythes on their hands. They are tanky in the sense they have a lot of HP. Actually don't have any armor, surprisingly, unless they are buffed by the glare. But they do have a lot of HP. They will take some time to chip down, and they are also, well, they do a lot of damage to your reinforcements or your heroes and things. So you'll have to be wary of that. Paladins would have been very good there, or just the Demon Pits, because they would have exploded and done the explosion damage. Be sure and rotate your heroes bottom to top as you need to. You can see the spitters will do a lot of damage to any of your reinforcements, heroes, barracks, that kind of thing. Be sure and keep Therian out of range, otherwise she will die very quickly. But otherwise the spitters are relatively slow and they are very squishy, so taking care of them isn't a problem if you don't let them chip down your heroes. And once again, rotating Therian back towards the bottom. We have a level 4 Mage Tower at this point. We're on wave 13. And it is doing devastating amounts of damage to the Cult Abominations. We're just going to try to keep them in the range of that Mage Tower as long as possible. And you notice I also got the Archer Tower down there upgraded and put points into the Armor Shred. Because these are really the only enemies on the map that have armor, so being able to shred their armor is very useful. Again, I just think that rocket gunners were not that useful. The chip damage they were doing wasn't huge, and I feel like they just could have been tanky barracks to slow down the enemies, keep them in range of the Archer Tower and the Mage Tower longer, as opposed to having rocket gunners, which effectively act as a weaker Archer Tower unless they are upgraded. Demon Pit boss now on level 14, wave 14, fully upgraded. Or at level 4, I should say, and then we're putting points into the pit boss champion dude. He's got the towel. I love that animation. He's just like the big pit boss dude with a towel, and he takes a lot of hits before going down, in which he explodes and does some good amounts of damage. So we're going to be putting a lot of points into that. Otherwise, just keep upgrading your towers. If you have the main upgrades, I would say whatever else you feel like is probably fine here, as long as you keep that Dark Ray Tower alive. That's going to help a lot with the chasers, anything that tries to slip past. Ideally, you don't use the Dark Ray Towers on the little Glarelings, little Voidlings, but it does help. It does keep them, it will keep you alive and prevent you from losing lives. Obviously, you want the Dark Ray Tower to deal damage to the tanky stuff because of the true damage, but since we are killing them before they get there, it all works out. Now, you can see wave 15. It does get a little bit chaotic. You're starting to see the Razor Claw dudes make it to the end. We're going to have to upgrade our tower one more time. I am selling stuff to put points into that Mage Tower and upgrading the Dark Ray Tower, just to make sure they don't slip past. So a little bit of micromanagement there at the ends. Getting a level 4 Mage Tower real quick. And that should be GG. 3 stars, 20 lives, veteran. Thank you guys so much for watching.